Hey, this is Celia. I teach people how to see UFOs, and if you would like to have your own sighting, then stick around this channel and we'll teach you how. It is absolutely mind-bending and exciting to have your own proof that the phenomenon is real, so I highly recommend it. So what does the term UFO mean? It is an acronym. It stands for Unidentified Flying Object. It's not really accurate. Hillary Clinton corrected Jimmy Kimmel on his show and told him that the updated term that is being used is UAP, which stands for Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon. The word phenomenon is a much better word to describe things that are being experienced by people. It includes lights that could be seen, energies. It doesn't presuppose that the things that people are seeing might not be beings, or they might not be alive or consciousness, maybe a portal or energy transfer. So it's very inclusive, a better term. However, we are kind of stuck with UFO at the moment because it's part of our cultural vernacular. For people that are a little bit more on the skeptical side, you should know that when most people use the word UFO, they are referring to, they're making it synonymous with a ET ship or a spaceship. So you may be doing your own correcting or at least filtering in your own mind when you're using the word UFO. And also for those more scientific leaning folks, I'm going to quickly describe Dr. J. Allen Hynek and what he discovered about UFOs. So he was a scientist that was hired in the 50s and 60s by the US Air Force, who expressly wanted him to debunk UFOs. And at first he was right on board with that, but as he performed his research, he came to the conclusion that the UFO phenomenon is real. And he also went on to say that regarding extraterrestrial intelligence and extra-dimensional intelligence, that there is sufficient evidence to defend both. So what might you see when you go out to get your own sighting? The things that I have seen are mostly anomalous lights in the sky, and I would say that probably what you would be looking for as an entry-level sighting would be a flashbulb, which is like a strobe of light, a small one about the size of a star that appears and disappears. So a very small flash that appears and goes away. Here are some of my friends and their sightings. These are people that I have known for a long time, that I know very well. I would literally trust them with my life.
Out of nowhere, this white, iridescent white ball of light in the distance in the sky appears in a zigzag form pattern, and it just disappears, maybe 2 seconds in length. And I look back up, and there's a formation of 3 different balls of light about 30 degrees to the right of Sirius. There's no other stars visible. And they're in a formation kind of like this, and a third one down here, really bright. And I'm just like, whoa. I look up, and pretty high in the sky, but pretty low in comparison to everything else, are these 2 look like white balls of light, orbs I call them, flying fairly quickly overhead, passing each other in opposite directions. One is kind of spinning and turning, and the other one is fairly stationary, and they pass, and I'm just taking it in and excited and grateful and trying to make sense of it. And I look back at Sirius, the 3 balls of light, that formation is there, and it's all of a sudden starting to power down really fast. Within about 10 seconds, those 3 balls of light were completely gone.
One night, I saw a light coming down, disappeared, and reappeared on the left side and disappeared. And this time, reappeared on a right side of the original position. Disappeared and then reappeared in an original line. Another night, I saw a flash, bright flashes of light at the same moment, and 2 different locations.
So I was looking up at the sky saying, please come back, please come back. I want to see you too. I want to see you too. And then as I look up, I saw it in the sky, and I asked everybody, is that what you guys saw? And they're like, yep. And it was a polygonal shaped object, probably like a full moon at an arm's length, and it was spinning. The halves were spinning against itself, and the whole thing was rotating around its axis as well, and just silently went through the sky until it went out of sight.
So I said, show me a sign if you're a UFO. And I dropped down close to the vehicle and then started spinning and pulled apart, and there was plasma in between the two sections at that point. And then it shot straight back up into the air.
Dr. Greer said kindness was just there. She just flashed in. And then it was Dawn Turner from Nanaimo who said, do it again out loud. And we all happened to look. And I saw this bright flash of light. And what I saw in front of it was something like this, which was, there was a black sun in front of the white light.
And what I saw, if you could imagine, like right now, I'm doing this on my iPhone 8 Plus. So if you were to take if you have a phone like that and hold it up to your right and just sort of flat, but enough so you could see the rectangle shape. So that was it was a rectangle shape like that. Now just imagine two domes coming out of your phone that were side by side, and this is what I see, and it was all white. You couldn't see through it. Definitely wasn't clouds because the edges were very, very defined and the domes were very defined. Wow. And I just stared at it as I'm driving. Not real safe, but I couldn't take my eyes off it. I could see in my peripherals that I was coming up to a vehicle. So as I was passing a vehicle, I was passing on the left. I took my eyes off it for like a split second, passed this vehicle as quick as I could, and then looked back, and it was gone.
In the spring of 2019, in New Zealand, working with a group of fantastic people for a number of days on group coherence and heart resonancy, we were out one evening in the field, and the skies were cloudy. The energy was electric. It was buzzing, and somewhat difficult to explain the unexplainable, but it was if a paintbrush started to paint the underside of the clouds, and so these white streaks started to show up in the sky, and it was one of the most remarkable things that I have ever experienced.
One day I was sitting in my bedroom, and all of a sudden I got this strong urge to go and look out my window, and there I looked up into the sky, and there over the trailer was a huge blob of orange, it looked like plasma, morphing and moving like an amoeba over our house. And another time I was about 15, I saw this big bright light hovering over the forest, and the communication thing was there again, in that I knew what was going to happen next every step of the way. So this bright light dropped a probe into the forest, and I knew that it would come back up and join the main light, and it did. And then after it was all done, whatever it was doing, besides communicating with me, when it was all done, it did kind of a little maneuver. It went up, and then it went over, and then it went up, and then it went over, and then it was gone at an impossible speed. It was quite spectacular. I have seen everything from flashbulbs, flashes of light, orange orbs in the sky, orange or blue or yellow or different things kind of moving through the sky, red sparkles in the forest. Two brilliant lights started coming from one horizon to the other in tandem, side by side, very bright, very big, and we were all just kind of watching this, and Terry shone the laser just to kind of say hello, and one of them flashed at us.
I'm a retired locomotive engineer. I spent 36 years on the railroad, and a lot of them were at night, and I've seen a few things. I'm going to say around 1988, and in the northwest was this huge black triangle. It blocked out the Big Dipper. I had two other people in the cab of the locomotive with me. They both came out and they observed this with me. So now the year is 2003, and all of a sudden, this thing showed up. It looked like a pop can, 2 Coca-Cola pop cans, and it took 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And then it started turning down, and then it vanished over top of the military base. This is a little more recent. This is 2017. We were in the backyard just having a fire just right over here, and this one ball of light came on. It took 6 seconds to come on, and then 6 seconds to go down. Well, that's wrong. It was 3 seconds altogether. So 3 seconds to come on and 3 seconds to shut off. As that one shut off, another one came on. The same fashion, and then went out. And when that one went out, a third one came on. And it formed a triangle. Just a triangle. This summer, 2019, and this triangle showed up. You know, if you were to put your arm way out there, it would have been about 1 inch. And it was rotating counterclockwise. And as it was rotating, it was changing from black to white, black to white. But the black was so black. So that was something that we just saw.
I was 10 years old. I was with a buddy of mine. He was 11, and my younger brother, who was 5. It was a triangular shaped UFO, and it blacked out all the stars behind it. Absolutely massive. And when it left, it went from where it was across the lake and beyond. I'm guessing it went somewhere between 5 and 10 miles that fast, and stopped just as quick as it had accelerated. That one has eaten my lunch most of my life. Back in 1979, when I was 15, I saw an orb. This one was about the size, little larger than a basketball. But this light had no sides. It was fuzzy. And when it stopped dead in its tracks, it was like I knew that there was a connection there. Then I believe it performed for me, because it went straight up about this fast, and it went way above the tree line. And then it stopped up there, and it danced around and back and forth, some figure eights, and up and down and side to side. Did that for about 30, maybe 45 seconds, and then it came back down about the same speed that it went up, and it stopped dead in its tracks, just like it did before, motionless for another 5 or 8 seconds, and then it's like it just let go, and I felt a release, and it started meandering down the road just like it was. Very cool. Over the last 3 years, we have had several CE5s, which is human-initiated contact. Every time we have gone out, we've had results. Some of the more memorable were we had a craft that was illuminated. It could very well have been a large orb. It illuminated the clouds both above and below it, came in from the west, and meandered around, went right over our heads, came down close to the ground, and it would illuminate everything in its path. And it would stop as if it would just say, hello, I'm here, how are you? We've had lots of craft that will flash like a flashlight or a flashbulb from a camera upon request. And they'll do it again upon request, just to say hello. The list goes on and on. It is incredibly cool.
And as I continued to watch what I initially thought was a hang glider, I started to realize this isn't a hang glider. The object looked like a boomerang shape. It wasn't very big. I'd say it was maybe 15 feet, pretty much both ways.
and it was only 12 feet away from me as it flew by. And the object started to turn towards me as I was standing on the balcony. Very silent, there was no noise, and it was semi-cloaked. So when I was looking at it, I could see the stars through it, but there was an outline, and the stars around the edge, the light was bent. It was beautiful, and I felt very peaceful. The feeling I had when it was going past me, I get emotional when I think about it, and I'm not sure why. It was it was one of the nicest feelings.
As far as sightings go, I won't get into that because people can hear all kinds. I mean, you can get film footage on YouTube of what people see. We see lights in the sky. We see things, that a lot of people call satellites that, sometimes turn around and go the other direction and go straight down and go straight up and do erratic things that, satellites don't do. But more importantly, what this does, what's happened to me since I've started CE5 is, it sounds corny, but it's not. I've learned to love. I've learned to love other people. I've learned to love myself. I've learned to love this planet.
So when you are diving into these new realms of mystery, it can be destabilizing. So keep that in your awareness that you may have some feelings of fear or anxiety or questioning, which is all really good. To be skeptical and ask questions and do the research. I would encourage you to learn how to surf the unknown by practicing and just allowing those feelings to transmute as you hold steady in a relaxed state of trusting yourself and your own discernment. You may also come across people who are very closed about this and may try to close you down and not come from a foundational base of knowledge at all and just dismiss it in its entirety. And I would just allow those people to have their own reality and not force your reality on them. I know it's hard if you're very excited about something that is very optimistic and hopeful, but we really have to afford everybody their own reality as a means of fostering unity in the world. If you are doing some more research, here is another researcher, Grant Cameron. There's a link to a video where he's talking about how the government is slowly releasing documents about the UFO phenomenon to help us acclimatize to the idea and not freak us out entirely. And lastly, I just wanted to throw out there 4 possible ideas for what the UFO phenomenon could be. And you can take it into your own consideration as you figure things out for yourself. The first potential idea is that it may be a mass delusion. It's possible that people are having hallucinations all at the same time, which kind of opens up a whole other Pandora's box of like, well, then what is reality if many people can have unreal things happening at the same time that are all the same? But it's a possibility. Another possibility is that it might be a mass manifestation. And so maybe humans are learning the tools that we might be able to use to actually affect reality and bring into being that which we desire fully or that we really want to see. So in which case, this actually would be a really interesting potential because we could use this in a really beneficial way to create positive change in the world. Another possibility is that the UFOs and what people think are ETs are maybe spirit or God or angels or other non-physical beings. And we're only seeing them in ways that we can understand through our lens of reality. So that could be a possibility too. And then lastly, we've got the conclusion that Dr. Hynek has come up with, which is that we are being communicated with by extraterrestrial intelligence and extra-dimensional intelligence, very highly evolved beings who are trying to show us that they are there and possibly help humanity, which is also a really great, positive, and hopeful reality. So, whatever you believe, whether you one of those four things kind of resonates with you or you have your own ideas, the key to all of this is love. Because when you ask for a sighting and then you receive it, in 99% of cases, you cannot receive a sighting unless you are vibrating at a very high frequency. And by that, I mean that you are feeling love in your heart, coherence, and a oneness with all of the earth and its populace, and all of humanity and the animals and the plants and everything. So whatever it is, whether we're creating a reality, whether we're having a really awesome high vibe hallucination together, or if it is spirit or God, or it's very loving beings, we cannot access this ability or experience of having a sighting without love. And so that's cool. Okay, I hope that excites you and that it makes you want to go out and get your own sighting. And I would love to hear about it. So throw it in the comments below.
Did you see the flashbulb? I put an Easter egg in here somewhere. It's pretty obvious if you didn't see it where to look to find where it is. If you want to know how to see a UFO and all the instructions that we provide to help you with that now, and you don't want to wait for any more videos to be produced over the coming months, then you can go to www.ace5handbook.com where you can get the free PDF. And if you want to get a hard copy of the book, you could do that. And you can also click on the screen here and go to the audiobook that Graham of the Grimerica Podcast very graciously did for us. This is really a call to action for you to go get your own UFO sighting, which is way more important than listening to other people talk about theirs. So, go do it.